Analog FPV is not dead. Guys, welcome back to the Drone Camps channel. Today, I am pretty proud of Orqa and excited because this company has released a brand new 5-inch FPV freestyle drone. It is called the Dream-X, and I'm pairing it up today with the Orqa goggles, which many of you guys know about and you love. It's a beautiful pair of goggles. It has a lot of cool features. And today I'm running a rapid fire from Immersion RC on here as well for the module for this goggles. And we're gonna run it on the new Ctrl. It's called Ctrl. It's on their website, you can check it out, but it is running a mini Ghost module in the back, and that's a different protocol than say Crossfire or ELRS. But we're gonna stay inside their ecosystem today with this entire package. Like, Orqa is making an entire package for FPV freestylers. I think that is pretty damn cool. So I wanna take you out and I wanna fly with you and let me show you what it's all about. I'll show you some analog footage and hopefully my GoPro recorded. And yeah, I'll do a real-time flight test with you and me at the field flying some FPV freestyle. Here we go. All right, guys, we're at the field with the brand new Orqa quad. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. Let's see what it's all about. I have all the switches set up, everything on the control radio, and yeah, let's see how this ecosystem works. It's cool to see something released in analog. I have to say, I'm really happy about that. Let's go ahead and take off. And right now I'm in full stability mode, and I'm just gonna go ahead and come out here and get some height out in the field. Flip that switch, a little bit of a dip there. So I'm flying a 6S 1200 pack right now, and what I'm wondering is, like, how is this gonna feel with the GoPro in there? So right now, you know, flying with a GoPro, and so far, you know, it feels pretty juicy. Go ahead and do like first little maneuver here. I haven't flown freestyle in a while, so it's hard for me to talk and freestyle at the same time, but I think I can do it. Nice pop. Tons of float. Look at that. That's the bottom end of this throttle right there. Way up and over. See if we can get that a little bit tighter. So it definitely has enough balls to freestyle, that's for sure. Feels good. I'm just running the VTX on stock right now. It's getting used to this controller too. So this controller feels like a little bit looser than what I'm used to. I did tighten up the sticks just a little bit on the throttle side of things because it came like super loose. So I don't know what your flying style's like, but if it's anything like mine, you'll probably want to like tighten it up just a little bit. Floating back over, it didn't come back in deep enough. Let's try that same line again. It's a good little gap right there. Like so much power coming back around. Uh-oh, almost put in the tree. Let's try some dives, some like just simple dives. Nice. It's flowy. I mean, you can definitely do some Spang style stuff with this.
Kind of getting used to it a little bit. Nice. Let's go out here and check out our big tree. This one's like 60, 70 feet tall. It's a perfect day to fly. So about 3.5 minutes on a 1200. I think if you put like a 1400 on here or 1500 6S, you'll probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of like probably 5 minutes out of a pack. So that's about normal for a freestyle drone. All right, so I'm back on the ground in one piece. Let's go back to the bench.
Welcome back from the flight test. So this is the box that they sent me. It's a pretty cool design on the front. Dream-X Performance FPV Drone, Orqa logo up at the top. And what's neat about the presentation of this box, let's check this out. It's pretty thick and it opens up from the center, and the quad was right inside there with my accessories here, and sort of a red outline around the inside and nothing on the back. But I thought that was a pretty cool presentation for a freestyle drone. I haven't seen anything this nice. This Dream-X Fpv Freestyle Drone with a GoPro on top is 520.8 grams. If I add a 6S 1300 pack on there, it gets it up to around 720.8 grams total takeoff weight, which is about typical for an FPV Freestyle drone. Okay, so let's talk about the Dream-X. Let's talk about the quad. What's it all about? I'm going to give you kind of a general rundown of FPV Freestyle. I'm not going to go deep into this, but typically, again, they are more robust. They're built thicker to withstand a lot of crashes because you guys are trying to do crazy spang and juicy flicks and all kinds of random freestyle stuff, and you crash a lot, and you need a quad that can handle a good hard crash. And it's funny in the hobby because people will crash and then they complain that it broke. But really it depends on how fast you were going. I mean, if you were a total idiot full throttle into a tree, like expect things to break. Like even the most robust freestyle drone, you can break an arm clean off. This one does come with replaceable arms. I'm happy to see that they did a 6mm arm on here. So it is thicker than typical, like you would see for a bind and fly. It's thicker than the Nazgul 5 arms. And a lot of times guys that are kind of custom ordering frames to build up a freestyle drone, they're usually going with something very similar to this as far as arm thickness goes. So this doesn't surprise me that Orqa would do that and make this thing a lot more robust for true, whatever you want to call it, like a hardcore freestyle pilot. So I think it's great. So you also have multiple mounting options for your electronics, 30 by 30, which is standard for builds, and 20 by 20, which is becoming kind of the norm lately, which is the new norm. So it does have an F722 flight controller on there. It's the Orqa F722, and we've got 60 amp ESCs, enabling us to fly a 6S up to about a 1500, 6S 1550 pack on here comfortably with a GoPro. And it is kind of a little bit of a Squash X / True X type of design. Again, with replaceable arms on there. It does have a sandwich stack in the center there. It does have a shorty lollipop in the back. This is the Orqa lollipop running on 5.8. It's version 4 actually on this antenna, so they've come quite a long ways on it. It also has kind of a frame set up with spinning folding props. So if you're trying to travel, these folding props are a little nicer to transport because they do fold in and fold out when you're ready to fly. I did break one of them in my flight test because I was kind of having too much fun with it. But the bottom plate on it is 3mm, the mid plate is 2mm, and that top plate is actually reduced in weight around 2mm. And you have an XT60, which is recessed on the very rear of the quad. But one of the reasons that they made this a short antenna is because honestly this is more of a kind of a proximity close-in flying style quad, and the lower that antenna is, the less likely that we're going to hit things and break it off if we do go crashing through the trees. And if we look at the bottom of this quad, you can tell that there is something different going on here, and I'm going to tell you what it is. They do have 5 bolts on the bottom securing the top plate sandwich to the bottom plate. So this is interesting the way they did this. I haven't seen this on another frame out there right now. They do have 4 bolts right here, and they used 6mm bolts through here with a red washer on each of these bolts. And then on these 4, they used a TPU bumper sort of for your landing setup. So when you go smack down on those kind of concrete areas that you're not damaging this bottom plate. But what you see in the center right here is a center bolt as well that goes up through the top plate and is kind of making this a little more sturdy, just giving it a little more center strength right there, which is kind of cool to see. Now on the back of the quad, they have kind of a neat TPU assembly back here, which kind of houses 2 things. It has the XT30 recessed right here with 2 bolts through the top plate and down into the TPU here. We've got this on an angle coming out the back right here. And again, it is lower so that we have a little less, we have a little more clearance in some of the crashes. We also have 2 bolts on the very bottom plate going up through, and this bottom piece of TPU is through both of the back posts. The video system on the back is, like I said, it is analog. I think it looks pretty good with the camera, and I also think that I could have turned the power up during my flight test. I did have some breakup. I was running it on stock like 25 milliwatt, but what's cool about this transmitter is that they kind of upgraded the power on the Dream-X. It's not just a typical 600 milliwatt or 800 milliwatt VTX. It's 1.5 watts. So that's becoming more kind of standard out there in FPV freestyle land. Right now, 1.5 watt is typically what we see on larger 7-inch style quads. 1.5 to 2 watt VTXs are becoming more common, but the benefit of having this particular kind of lightweight, ultra hybrid analog VTX on here is not only is it like lightweight, but it's going to give you better penetration through trees if you're flying around bandos and things like that. More power is just going to give you a better signal back to your goggles, and just much better penetration around and through objects. And you're going to thank yourself later when you crank up that power and see how good it looks in your goggles. It's nice to have that extra power on a 5-inch freestyle drone. So now we're going to take a look at the brains of the Dream-X, and the brains that they chose to put in here is the Orqa F7 2020 F722 analog. It is a flight controller that's compatible with the Ghost ecosystem. So we have the VTX, which plugs right into the side of it with a port, and that makes it a little easier for if you broke something or had to replace it. It's kind of a no solder type of setup. Same thing for the camera. It also plugs into a port on the side. So that makes it kind of simpler to work on. If something does, you know, shit hits the fan, you're able to fix this yourself. It does run an STM32 F722 processor. And again, it's 20 by 20, and just below the flight controller is the ESC stack. So it is a 2-up stack, which I like. It's not an AIO. So if one thing goes bad, you don't have to replace the whole thing. And it's kind of amazing that we get 60 amps worth of power these days in 2024 in a 20 by 20 4-in-1 ESC stack. That's pretty awesome. So it is also compatible with Betaflight and iNav. So if you want to hook this up to Betaflight, USB-C on this side, or flash it with iNav and put some GPS on here for a range style quad, you can also, you know, have the option to do that. And these ESCs do come with BL Heli 32 version 32.100. It's the latest version before BL Heli shut down. So that is really good news that these ESCs have the latest version. So you're not stuck back with the old version that might power up on the bench. This is the latest version on this particular ESC 20 by 20 stack, which is very good news for you. Now, some more information for people who might want to fly this on DJI-03 or Caddx Vista. It will fit back there. It is a little bit tight to get it in here. You can see the capacitor sticks out a little bit right here. You're gonna have to kind of relocate that capacitor and the power cables, but it will fit a DJI O3, and it is compatible with Walk Snail, the Vista, and the O3 back here. So depending on which HD system you might want to upgrade to later, this frame will fit it just quite snug. Now you're looking at the new Orqa RTR 6S motor. It does have a super nice finish on it all the way around the bell. From the top, the coils look good. They look nice and thick. It has that red base on there, and it does have 4 bolts coming out through the bottom. And on the bottom of the frame, the bolts are recessed, which is nice. They don't stick out, so that's kind of a nice feature. And we're also running some Gemfan floppy proppies. These kind of tricked me because I thought that these were not going to fly very good, and they actually surprised me. Because of the tune on here, they flew great. The tune is perfect for this particular prop, and I guess for traveling, like since these fold in, they're not going to be sticking out on your quad when you do put it in your bag, which is kind of nice. You can fold them in and turn them like that, so they're not poking anything and taking up extra space inside your travel bag. So there are the props folded in, and I mean, as you can see, it's a little more compact. The props don't stick out to kind of make it larger to put inside your bag, so it is kind of nice. You also notice that right in the center of this prop assembly, there is kind of a hub that holds all 3 of these blades together. You also have a low profile nut on the very top, and the motor stem itself is a little bit taller to accommodate Gemfan's floppy proppy. So, okay, at the end of the day, if you want to stay inside Orqa's now all-in-one ecosystem, you can do that. There are lots of people out there in our community who respect Orqa and really love the original pair of goggles that they came out with. And they've done a lot of hard work. And again, they're like pilots making things for pilots. They're a company that totally knows our industry, and FPV, starting out with FPV racing and FPV freestyle, making the controller super low latency with the Immersion RC Ghost system on here. That's what it's all about. And originally they kind of started out working stuff out for racers, and now they're going into the freestyle thing, which I think is totally the right move for them, especially since there is going to be a market for a DJI alternative. We're not all going to be flying analog if DJI is banned, but some of you guys may never end up moving over to HD, which is completely fine. Like, you can still go out and fly analog FPV and have a really good time. I had a great time with this quad, and once you start flying it, you're not thinking about, is this HD or is this analog? I'm thinking about those gaps that I'm trying to make that power loop, and just I'm in the moment when I get into the goggles, and that's the nice thing about the experience. Now, as far as the tune on here, again, like, dare I say that the tune is anywhere from 90 to 95% done. I didn't see a lot of vibrations, and I didn't have a lot of shuffle in the hard stop maneuvers back and forth. And honestly, the weight of the GoPro on here, sometimes when I get a quad, I'm flying it, you feel, and some of you guys know what I'm talking about, you feel the weight of the GoPro on the quad. But once you move up to 6S, a 6S freestyle drone, typically with motors that are powered for 6S, you don't feel that weight of the GoPro. And that was kind of crazy to me when I was working on those power loops around the trees and things, that coming back down around the bottom of the loop, that I didn't feel the weight of the GoPro. It just flew straight through it with power. And so, great tune, thicker 6mm arms on here, truck body, long bed design, low profile type of antenna in the back, folding props. We have washers on a lot of the hardware in here, and that center bolt plate design. All of it works really well together. So I think they did something cool here. So I think for people that are looking for an analog option these days, it's nice to have a really refined analog option out there, because it seems like a lot of the companies have kind of stopped making a lot of things, and they've kind of died off. Some of them have closed down shop. So it's really good to see analog support for our community in 2024. I'm telling you guys, we are lucky to have a company like Orqa. So, you know, and I'm not trying to sweeten them up by any means because they sent me a bunch of free gear. I'm just telling you kind of the state of the industry. So it's, you know, a lot of this stuff is becoming privatized. For a company to make hobby things still for us to play with and not make war things is very awesome for us. You know, I'm counting my blessings on this one, and I appreciate Orqa for sending me this gear to play with and show it to you on the channel. It's like show and tell. Now, will I fly the Ctrl radio? If I had my choice, you know, and this is an honest review, if I have a choice, I'm still going to fly my Boxer. I'm accustomed to this one. I like the way it feels in my hands. This feels a little alien to me, and as I'm flying, I still feel that, you know, it's like in my mind, I'm so used to my Boxer that my brain is telling me like, I'm using something else. I'm using something else. This feels different. This feels different. And then there's times where I forget that I'm using the Ctrl radio there, and I kind of just fall into it. I think over time I could get used to it, but I really do like my personal setup here. So I think if you've never flown a full-size radio and you go to this one, you'll probably do just fine. I see guys flying game-style controllers, the smaller ones, all the time. Some people love the Pocket series, and it's similar to the Pocket, but it doesn't have any screen on there, so you're gonna have to use an app to be able to control it. I think it has an app, but yeah, it hooks up to the computer via USB-C, and that's a whole different review. But today was just a review on this stuff all together, all in one from Orqa. So I think it's awesome. Dream-X is definitely fun. So I think you'll have fun with it. If you get it, yeah, you're gonna like it. So that's the proof, and this is the example of how much fun you can have with an Orqa Dream-X quad. So first one from Orqa, I'm proud of them. 2 thumbs up for Orqa for making the Dream-X and supporting FPV Freestyle on the hobby level. Thank you, Orqa, for doing that. And not privatizing like some of these other companies going private and making war drones. The hobby is still alive, and analog is still alive. So smash the subscribe button and the like button to make this video rise up in the ranks and prove to YouTube that we're not just about war games for FPV, we're actually about having fun too. So again, I appreciate you for watching. I'm Justin Davis, guys. Have fun over this weekend, and stay safe out there on this holiday weekend. And I will see you on the next one.